Are you a business owner looking to grow your business in South Africa? Tune in to the Blaze Podcast with Telkom Business. Learn from the experts and get tips on marketing, finance, innovation, and more. Blaze with Telkom Business.
Sawubona, Dumelang, and welcome to the Blaze Podcast powered by Telkom Business. Our segment for today is about how to prepare your business for the new year. I'm your host, Mashudu, and today we will dive into how you can set your business up for success in the new year. So today I have some amazing guests in studio. Hasnain Motleka, CFO Consumer and Small Business. Makgosi Mabaso, Managing Executive for Home and Broadband Solutions, as well as Simo Mkhize, Chief Commercial Officer for Consumer and Small Business. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to dive into things already, how can SMEs prepare themselves for the new year? I'll start with you, Simo.
The SMEs can firstly take it all in. It's been a hard year for everyone and mostly for the business community. And I think that's take it all in, look at what they've been able to achieve and to still have a business that's still live at the end of the year is actually an achievement. And I think as the next step is then to start thinking about what they want to do as they go into the new year.
Yeah, I think maybe just to add on what Simo was saying, it's a good time for the SMMEs to look at the rear mirror, what worked for their business, what didn't work, what are some of the lessons or takeaway, they took along. And it's also a good time to reflect on your strategy, did you hit the right notes at the right time? What are those metrics that you set for yourself? And do you believe that you're in the right place or not? So it's really a good time. And rear mirror, as they always say, it's hindsight. It's always a good one. So from my view, those are some of the things that they need to consider.
Yep.
So it's very easy to get caught up in a defeatist mentality given the tough year we had. We've had forex issues, load shedding issues, freight and logistic issues. It's very easy to give up, but like Makgosi says, there's opportunity to look through the rear view mirror and see what we've done well and like a growth mentality into the new year. It's not necessarily a time to take big bets. It's maybe take smart bets, but take marginal bets that will take your business forward. That's probably the right time to think about what you want to bet on for the next year. And then just look at incremental improvements in your business for the next, because next year is not really a year that I think we can take big bets as small and medium business. We're applying the same approach in our business as well going forward for next year.
Yeah. Makgosi, you mentioned something around, measurement and things that you're measuring in your business and how those things can be, how you actually assess how good or bad your year might have been, and like looking into that rear view mirror, right? How do small businesses measure success, especially in businesses that are new to digital transformation?
Yeah, and I think, Mashudu, it's a very good question, because a lot of the small, medium business, every time we talk about digital transformation, there's this level of overwhelming, not really knowing, is it really going to give them what they're looking for, I always say that look at how you run your business today, right? And define the metrics of those of what you're doing today. So, for example, if it takes you, 30 days, from lead to cash, for example, that's a metric on its own. If it takes you very long to serve your customers, that's a metric on its own. When you then think about when you transform your business, digitally, you then have an opportunity to remeasure the same metrics when you've now, pivoted to the digital world. So it's actually quite easy. It's for you to look at today, how do you measure your business today, and really identify those areas. And then when you pivot, you just remeasure that. That's really going to define whether you are successful in the digital transformation. However, what's also quite important is for businesses to make sure that when they consider digital transformation, it's in line with their strategic imperatives. What do you really want to achieve when you do your digital transformation? I always say that we don't do digital transformation for the sake of it. It's not just for fun. It's meant to actually to elevate your business. It's meant to evolve your business to become better than what it was yesterday.
Yeah. Speaking about things that can make your business a lot better, what is Telkom Financial Services and how do they help businesses?
Yeah, so in this portfolio, we have a couple of products, right? We have Telkom Land, for example, as a product. We have Telkom Insure, as a product. We have Telkom Pay, for example, as a product. And if we go back to Telkom Land, obviously Telkom Land, we're looking at how can we then help the small, medium business and fund them. And how we do it, we make sure that we don't ask for your DNA, right? We don't ask for your blood, for your blood there. It's quite unsecured. We are able to give you funding, in the next 24 hours. You're able to access that. We give you options to pay it off between 3 months, to 12 months. We've got a good partner that we're working on in the back end to make sure that we give you that service, as soon as possible. On the Telkom Insure, for example, what we do a lot of device insurance. So if in your business you have a lot of devices, that's where we come in, and it's a good way to make sure that you de-risk yourself from some of the things that's happening in there. Then we have what we call a Telkom Play. Telkom Play really plays in two roles. We have both for consumer and SMB. In the consumer world, for example, we enable the customer to be able to send money. There's money transfer there. You're able to top up your wallet, for example. With that wallet, you're able to buy airtime, in that app. And in the business side, we have something called Telkom MPOS. So Telkom MPOS is really what today I think what businesses do is they buy devices to be able to tap, as they service their customers. What that gives you is an app that you can download, and customers are actually able to pay you digitally using the app itself. So that's really what's in the portfolio.
It's so good to hear about all the different parts of the ecosystem to support small businesses is actually existing, right? So we've talked about those products and services and the metrics that small businesses need to set in order to be successful. But Simo, I want to come to you now. As we prepare for this new year, how do small businesses prepare themselves financially to be successful?
So I think holidays are over. We're coming back to the, to start the new year. And one of the first things we do, we need to be quite hard about how we measure the business, how well the business did. Look at some key measures, use some tools such as whether it's a SWOT analysis, where you look at what are the strengths of your businesses, what are the weaknesses, and what are the opportunities that are there for your businesses. And then once you've looked at those, both the hard financial measures of the business and these, soft opportunities that may have come up, for your business, then set targets. Set targets of what you aim to achieve in the new year. Those targets needs to be measurable. They may be financial in nature. They may be where you want to take your business, new markets, new products, and new services that you want to deliver to your customers. And sometimes a very key one is customer experience. How do you want to improve, customer experience in your business? And again, when you look at the products that Makgosi and services that Makgosi has spoken about, you then be able to say, this is where I can tap into this product set of Telkom Financial Services and Telkom Small Business, and be able to progress your business into this digital ecosystem.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hasnain, I just heard you remarking, just like, Would you like to chip in?
No. So there's a couple of things we can doing in our own business. Firstly, is de-risk the business. So if you have a customer concentration, see if we diversify. If there's a logistics issue, see if we can find alternative sources. So just look at de-risking, look at what's risky within your business. Just see what it is that you can take out from a risk, because you don't want to carry that worry from this year into next year. So look at ways to actually do it. And then the other one is probably, for me, is deleverage your business. If you're carrying a lot of debt, find ways to actually deleverage, take some debt off the balance sheet, make yourself, your business balance sheet much stronger going into the new year. Because we sort of at the fortunate point where we think that the interest rate cycles have peaked. From here, and it should be, but it's going to take a long time before the cost of debt comes down. So if there's an opportunity to take debt off your balance sheet, take it off. No business has ever gone bankrupt by having too little debt on its balance sheet.
Yeah.
So just take it. Then the other one is de-cost. Just look at the cost elements in your business. Costing, it's not something I learned from one of the bigger organizations I've read about. Cost cutting and cost trimming is like cutting your nails. You always cut your nails. You don't cut your nails once. So you're constantly reviewing, look at those costs and see that are non-value adding, and then see if you can trim the way. Don't do big, massive cost restructuring, but just little bits at a time. And then probably the digital transformation. If there's elements to introduce technology into your business, find those paths. And it doesn't have to be a big AI jump. It could be just, how do I communicate with my customer? WhatsApp business chats are now far more pervasive and far more user-friendly. And just see if we can adopt something small and move it forward. And most importantly, protect your cash flow. Protect your cash like it's your firstborn. Don't give that cash away to anybody to manage and to protect. You keep your hands on that till and you make sure your hands are the only hands that go into that till. Without cash flow, your business is dead. You can't pay salaries tomorrow, people don't eat. So cash flow is critical. So those are the things, I'm not saying this theoretically, it's stuff we're adopting because we're going through a business planning cycle as we're speaking at the moment.
Yeah. You're talking about, debt and just managing your finances really, really well. Can you talk about the differences between a fixed rate loan and an adjustable rate loan when small businesses are looking for alternative sources of funding?
So, firstly, the first hurdle, you've got to make sure your business can afford the loan. So the cost of debt cannot be way more than the return you'd actually make out of the business. If you're looking to get 20-30% margin, you can't be paying interest at 30%. So then make sure from affordability, and then secondly, the cash flow payment associated. So can you afford the installments at that point? Will you have cash flow in the business to actually say if it's a 60-month repayment period or it has a quarterly tranche? Can you actually at that point, does your business cash flow cycle line up to the funding you take? Then from a fixed and a variable. So we're sitting at the point where if you take a fixed loan now, you're going to lock in rates that are higher. So then you take a bit the risk and say, okay, let's go variable and assume the interest rates are going down. So basically it's the cost of debt, the interest rate associated with it. Do I lock in a fixed rate and say, okay, that's my cost, I'm in, I know what I'm in for, I can afford it, then I know I have no risk. Or do I go variable and take the risk that the interest rate cycles on its way down? So that's how you approach it. So you very much have to take your debt, align it to the operating cash flow cycle and the costing structures of your business and the revenue and cost, the ability to afford it. So it's term, affordability, and then whether you believe that your business can carry the risk of a fixed term loan going forward, or you can say no problem, the variability, we believe the cycle is there. So that's sort of the major difference between fixed. It's not just about do I take a fixed or a floating rate loan. It's how it ties back into your operating cash flow cycle and expenditure cycles.
I think this next question actually links very well to that, which is, how do I know I can afford to keep my business afloat or sustainable, right? Because when you're assessing all these things, it can be a bit confusing as a small business owner. How do I very clearly assess whether or not this should exist or not, and how to maybe take a different approach moving forward in the new year?
So, small businesses, I grew up in a small business environment. It's very much you, yourself, and I. You tend to carry everything on your shoulders. If you have staff working for you, that family, for that staff that works for you, depends on you whether they have food on the table or not. So it's a very stressful, and you carry a lot of burden associated with it. So the first question you have to ask yourself, cash flow. Can I afford to pay firstly my employees? Can I pay my suppliers? Can I pay the taxman? Can I pay the funding institution? And then normally entrepreneur stands last in the line for his own money. So you got to make that assessment and say, actually, if I assess that, can I pay all of these stakeholders with the cash flow I'm generating, and make an honest assessment of the business now? And I think the point was made by Makgosi, this is the right time to do self-introspection and reflection as to whether the business is sustainable. That's probably your first goal. Can I pay salaries? If I cannot pay salaries, then say, okay, guys, is this business sustainable? Do I have the inflows to match? And then say if I tick all those boxes, there's a little bit for everybody, everybody's hands that's out can get fed. The question then becomes, okay, now strategically, where do you want to be in the medium term and where do you want to be in the long term? Do I have enough funding for the incremental movement of the business? Can this business grow, or is it just a lifestyle business? Those are questions you have to solve. Can I grow this business to say a 10 million, a 50 million, 100 million business, or am I just paying myself and my various stakeholders? These are questions that probably the right time to ask intrinsically, and be honest with yourself, because there's no use knocking your head against the wall and this business will never grow. It will just be a lifestyle business. It will be a business you can run out of your garage as opposed to creating growth for your family. And do you see multi-generational wealth? Do you honestly see you can create multi-generational wealth? If it's not there, be honest with yourself and take a step back and revisit and reassess. No business has been an overnight success. There's more any successful entrepreneurs had more failures than successes, the majority of them. Nobody just hits it on the first head.
Yeah. Makgosi, just something that's coming from this, right? And, Hasnain is talking from a financial perspective. Are there metrics that small businesses can set for themselves early in the year to say, these are the 3 things we need to focus on to really thrive in this year?
Yeah, so I think in my view, there should be a couple of metrics. I mean, if you are going to set the year and you don't have any metrics or goals, I think you're set for failure, right?
Yep.
So for every business, look at your business and look at what is the market share, for example, that I want to get for my customers. Am I still focusing on the right segments? Is there an opportunity for me to probably refocus on other segments? Look at my product list. Do I believe that I have the right products on the table? Do I have an opportunity to evolve those products if I need to? Look at how you serve your customers. Do you believe that you're serving them the right way? So you almost need to, I always say that, and small, medium business has to be very careful. You don't have to complicate your world. Pick the 2-3 things in your world that you believe they matter. These 3 things, if they go the right direction, you'll see the outcome that Hasnain was talking about. If any of these are not going in the right direction, you'll also get a sense that you're not looking at it in the right way.
Yeah.
So really keep it simple, and let these 3 be the 3 that are your guiding principles across the year. And nothing wrong. Sometimes you kind of probably add a subset of of each, but yeah, I think at a generic level, just keep to those 3, and those are the ones that you can probably go forward with.
Yeah.
Just maybe to add on to that, what Makgosi has said is it's very critical that also you have a very good lens on the competitive landscape.
Yeah.
I mean, as big businesses like us at Telkom and Telkom Business, we have 3-4 handful of competitors to look at. As a small business, those run into tens to hundreds. There is huge competition out there. And I think one of the things that you hear a lot in business is that people say, I don't know what happened to my business. One day I was trading and the next I didn't have customers. What happened is that you lost focus on looking around. What is what is competition doing? How will you respond to the competitive landscape? And in this digital, growth in digital environment and ecosystem, competition starts to be global, as well as also if you do not transform yourself and remain competitive in the digital landscape, you could become very irrelevant quickly. So I'll encourage small businesses. Focus on your business, but also know what's happening around you and what other competitors are doing.
And maybe just to add to what Simo was saying, I'm also finding that small, medium businesses, they're natural competitors, right? These people we know, we compete with them. They are natural ones that evolve all the time. Even in our world, I mean, I was speaking about the Telkom insure, right? What does that mean? That means we also compete with insurance companies, we compete with banks. So it's also quite important that as you look at the competitive landscape, look at those that are evolving to be in your market. Because actually those are the dangerous ones, to be quite honest with you. Those are the dangerous, you've never thought that these guys will be in the game. They're in the game. So very dangerous, and maybe just a tip there for them.
Yeah.
Maybe just to add both. The critical KPI for me is repeat business. The customer buy once from you only, then there's something not wrong. If there's repeat business, the customer loves you and he loves what you're doing. If there is a contract extension, contract renewals, if those are not happy, then you have to assess why and go up the change in terms of your operating model. What are the processes making the customer unhappy that made them not come back for repeat business? So the key metric is to love your customer is repeat business. Are you seeing repeat business? If you're not seeing repeat business, go up your processes. Understand why the customer is not coming back second time around.
Yeah. I really appreciate you guys just having this discussion. I mean, I could just walk off at this point. Simo, I really appreciated when we started the conversation, just acknowledging how difficult 2023 was, right? And just the challenges that small businesses are navigating. Hasnain, you sort of spoke about load shedding, logistical nightmares, all these different things. With all the challenges that businesses are facing, how do people remain agile and better navigate the economic climate?
I think it's firstly, we've spoken about assessing and taking stock, but it's about also being quite clear on what your core business is. I think you could be, in the midst of chaos, one of the things that happens is opportunities sprung up. At times I do spend time talking to small, medium enterprises, mentoring and coaching. You find that the guys will be so excited about the 10 opportunities that he's seeing. I can do that, I can expand there. And in the midst of that, you lose focus on your core business. I think firstly is remaining disciplined about your core business. And yes, there's nothing wrong about looking at opportunities for growth, but look in the context of where the economy is. I mean, Hasnain spoke about small incremental growth areas and looking at how, firstly, you're sustainable, and secondly, how you start eating up, whether you're eating up market share or you increasing volume of sales and so forth within the context of where you have done well as a business. And I think that's quite critical. And that is how you can remain sustainable in this environment. And look at, when you look at digital transformation, one of the things it gives is opportunities to optimize cost. So don't be scared to pivot with regards to how you've always done things when there's opportunities, to use, digital tools. I mean, some of them are readily available even, at no cost. And some of them just needs connectivity, as a support to, to access, those tools. And I think that is what some of the things that I'll encourage small businesses to look at.
And maybe just to add, I also do believe that and it doesn't matter how small the business is, we also need to get into the behavior of doing scenario planning, right? I think the worst thing as a business is to be caught with your pants down. And the economic there's a lot in 2024 that we don't know about, right? The load shedding is there. Probably that part we know. There's a lot more. Climate change is about, that is changing. So I always encourage them to look at the scenario planning. Have 2 or 3 of those and say, if this were to come to a fruition, how would I pivot my business? If this were to come to, how would I pivot my business? So that when it can happen, it might not happen, but I think at most you have to be as ready as you can with the knowledge that you have and with the resources that you have.
Yeah. Hasnain?
It's not going to be easy. We basically, it's trench warfare. That's the analogy I'm using for. So you want to make sure you don't get caught up in the mud. You actually move forward inches by inches, and you make those little incremental gains on the business. Don't try and do this leapfrog that very few businesses go from 0 to 1 million or 50 million customers within a year. Yeah. Trade for the conditions you have, not the conditions you want, and then you adopt an analogy of a wartime general, that you're fighting for incremental movement in your business inch by inch, and you don't get caught up in the mud. And if you adopt that mindset that you're not fighting for yourself, but you're fighting for your employees, you're fighting for your family, for your stakeholders, and you're moving the business forward inch by inch. And to Makhosi's earlier point, always take out. You'll never know. Always be aware of all the competition be aware of the competition that's unnatural as well. And just make sure that you're in there, loving your customer and developing that repeat business. It's about developing it's easier to repeat business with existing customers than to go fight for a new customer. And just keep growing the base. I mean, we're not perfect, and Telkom's been on a journey for almost a decade now where we've grown the business. We're trying to be more customer friendly, love our customers more. But it's a journey, and it's not a big bang approach to it. So it's incremental, trench warfare, and adopt a wartime general approach.
Yeah. So just to re-emphasize, the importance of tools and digital transformation and how using technology can actually help your business move forward. Makgosi, I think this one would be for you. What products or services from Telkom Business can really help a business thrive in the difficult environment that 2024 might bring?
Yeah, so we know that one of the things that's at the top of the small medium business mind is the best way of how they can run their business in the most efficient way, right? And it's important for us to ensure that as we provide product and services out there, it matches with what they want to drive, right? So as Telkom, I think we've always been quite great in ensuring that the core connectivity is there and is available. But we had to now start looking at small, medium businesses differently and say, well, we know that they are looking at how they can grow their business, right? They are looking at how they can run their businesses efficiently. So what are those products and services that we can put in these two cohorts, for example? So for example, in scaling your business, for example, we're looking at digital marketing. We're looking at how we can create websites for you. We can have online stores for you. We make sure that you've got presence across all these social platforms, you know. We've got what we call the YEMP Syncs, which then manages the information around this, you know, social platform. So those, for example, are some of the products that we're looking at scaling it. If you look at the efficiencies, for example, we have products such as Zoho, such as Zero, and these are software as a service type of products, you know, which are very cheap, by the way. I mean, if you look at quite affordable, if you look at their license model, it's quite affordable. And those are some of the products, you know, that we're actually looking at as for small media business to consider. And again, I think I said earlier that as part of the rear mirror, what did I do well? What didn't I do well? Where can I run my business most efficiently? And that's where small media business then need to sit down and relook at their businesses through the lens of technology and find ways of how they can adopt this technology to scale them as a business, you know. As small as they are, there is no way they'll be able to do everything. There's just no ways. And that's where the leveraging of technology has to come through.
So
maybe just to add on to that, Mashudu, that I mean, I would be missing an opportunity as a salesperson not to say this. I think one of the things small businesses need to do is, and it's something that we all, overlook, is just review your cost base. The cost of connectivity is one of maybe some of the basic costs that you've been with your provider, you've been with, so I think it's quite key for small businesses to look at their cost, and I'm quite sure that when they look at the competitive landscape, they will be quite pleased. Those who are not our customers already, when they look at what Telkom has to offer from the various connectivity solutions, that some of which Makgosi spoke to, whether from a fixed line or even from a mobile or fixed wireless perspective, where they could save real savings in this tough economic terms, to be able to put some of those savings back into driving their businesses and growing their businesses. So I'll encourage them. There's no better time actually during the off season now, when you've got a couple of hours, look at that income statement, look at the cost, and pick up certain things where you may be able to benefit on savings, where you can start putting that into good use.
And maybe just to add as well, I mean, we want to be seen as the partner, right, with the small, medium businesses. And if you just think about what Simo spoke about, what I'm talking about as well, we are now in a position to offer converged services to the small, medium businesses, right? Whether that's lending, whether that's insurance, whether that's software as a service type of products, whether that's connectivity, we now become the one-stop shop, for the small, medium businesses. And I think that's a very powerful place to be. I think as a small, medium businesses, you do want to have one person that you work with. And back to the fact they don't have time. There's no way that you want to work with 5 different people, who probably are going to give you 5 different ways of seeing the same thing, and conflicting in one way or the other. And I think that's the value that we put on the table for the small, medium businesses.
Yeah. So guys, I think you've given so much information for small businesses to think about 2023 and how they could have been better, but also think about 2024 and how they could be thriving as well. Just to wrap things up, I just want to get one last thing from you guys, which is, do you have a tip, advice for small businesses on how to really thrive in 2024? How do I think about it? How do I go into it? How do I make sure that I'm in the best possible position? Definitely with the right partner, because that's important. Are there those things, that you're thinking about that could really help small businesses be better, do better? And when we do this podcast again at the end of 2024, we can have a different conversation to say, oh man, you know, small businesses had challenges, yes, but here's where they thrived. Is there those things? I'll start with you, Simo.
I think I'll go back to my opening point around be measurable around your objectives. Set objectives that you can measure and regularly revisit them. So if you have that discipline, whether it's a quarterly review of how well you've done around what you've set for yourself. And yes, we've painted a very glim picture around the economic prospect, but also back yourself. Where you believe that you've assessed the risk, you've looked at the opportunity, and back yourself to be able to take your business to the next level. And I think if you do those things, you should be able to have a prosperous 2024 from a business perspective.
Yeah, so thanks. Look, I think for me, 2024 and any other year beyond 2024 has to be a year of elevation, has to be a year of for businesses to evolve. I think those are my two words, that I can probably live with them. And why that is important, and I think it's probably some of the stuff that Hasnain was talking about, is it's hard. I think small medium businesses, it's really hard.
Yep.
And it's quite important that you have to be kind to yourself. Celebrate the successes that you've had in 2023. Take into account some of the failures, why you failed, and it's part of the journey, by the way. It's part of the journey. Even those small, medium businesses that couldn't even stand for a year, it's experience. That's what it takes to get experience. You gotta have to fail, you know. So yeah, I think from my perspective, elevate, evolve. The conversation around digital transformation, do not get your heads out of that conversation. Continue to engage on what does it mean for my business, why is it important for my business, continue to look for people who do it better than you, and continue to look for the best partner that can help you to transition.
Probably it's going to be counterintuitive given that I'm the accountant in the room. But I'd say appreciate your loved ones. Because this journey is so long and hard and difficult, you carry everything in your shoulders. So if you need to rebase and reset the relationships with your loved ones, do it during this period so you don't carry that trauma into the business. So that you at least when you go home at the evening, you don't have this issue at home. So appreciate your loved ones and make sure you've rebased and reset the relationships if needs be, and take that forward. That's probably the critical, because you speak to any financial advisor, they say the most important investment and decision you ever make is the person you marry or the life partner you choose.
Yeah.
It's by far the most important. So use this opportunity to go appreciate the loved ones, reset those relationships need to reset, and then that will help you set the base for your small and medium business.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your time and the amazing insights that I hope that small businesses are gonna learn from. Thank you guys so much. So unfortunately, we have come to the end of our very first Blaze podcast. As we wrap up, how can we use discussed strategies to be tailored to your unique business? Reflect on your past year, set strategic goals, plan your budget wisely, embrace digital transformation, and enhance your customer experience. This isn't just about preparing for the new year. It's about setting the stage for sustained growth and success. If you're looking to explore solutions that can help you streamline your operations and improve your business outputs, Telkom Business has various tools and products that can add value to your small to medium business. Above all, if you found this session to be helpful, be sure to join us for more insights and strategies to take your business to the next level.